Hello viewers, welcome back. We are now looking at naming cells. That's what we are going to focus on in this video. So now that we have pulled this IBEDA right here, we've already pulled our IBEDA to this point. We've pulled it into our highlighted IBEDA down in this row 35. So let's look at how we could build the formulas that we are in. Let's try to look at, let's see how we can build the formulas that is going to help us be able to do exactly what we did in the last video. In other words, we want to build formulas for these same cells from F35 to L35, those columns. We want to look at the formulas for those different cells, and we want to see how we can build formulas in those cells instead by using names. Now, you probably recall from earlier courses or earlier videos, when we were touring the Excel interface, we said that up here in this area here, let me first, and we said that from this area here, we said from our area here, that's the area that we call the name box. That area you're seeing when pointing, in this area where I'm pointing, is the area that we call the name box. So in that name box, you can see that currently the name box is showing, F15, and F15 is the name of this cell that where our cursor is, F15. And if we were to go down to the next cell, you will see that our name box is going to change from F15 to A16. That's what we are seeing from there. And if you are to move across to the right using the arrow key, now we are in cell B16. So each one of these cells by default is assigned a name that follows the sequence. And one of the things that you are going to see in this course is that we can change the name of the individual cells, or we can change the name of a group of cells, which is exactly what we are about to do in this video right now. So we actually what we want to do is we want to go down here. We can just move down here to gross profit. That's one of the highlighted figures. The one is in broad. So gross profit. When we move down to gross profit, and if we are going to use the mouse, because now there are two options of us using the mouse or using the keyboard shortcut. But let's first go through how we can do this by using the mouse. Then we can look at using the keyboard later. So when you're using the mouse, we could click right here on top of this, on top of this item where it says 19 here. You could select that row 19. If you select that row 19, and what we want to name this entire row as gross profit, because you are seeing this is a gross profit line item. So I want to name all of this as gross profit, the whole of that line 19 or row 19. We are going to name it gross profit. But now, if you are to do that, you can either go through the use of the mouse or you can go through the use of the keyboard. So let's walk through exactly how do we do that with the keyboard, and we actually really want to avoid the use of the mouse, because the using the mouse is okay, but what we are mostly preferring is basically we need to understand the use of the keyboard. We practice using the keyboard, because that's the only way we are going to save time. So first of all, let's practice some keyboard shortcuts. So before you do that, let's get some of these shortcuts that we can practice, or that we can play around. If you move along with that arrow, that cell 19, this one, let's first maybe we leave highlighting. If we be in that cell 19, if we move around with the arrows to that cell 19, we can now move using the right arrow. We move to cell B19. That's the cell that has gross profit. Oh, that's where our line item for gross profit starts. And now we want to select the entire row, because the other one we did it using just by hitting the row, that 19, it will highlight itself automatic. But if you are to use the keyboard, how do we do that? So if you are to highlight that, or if you are to select that entire row, then we are going to do Shift plus spacebar. Shift spacebar. Spacebar is that big button. Shift spacebar, just like that. And we have highlighted that value. And now what we could do, we could also use the maybe we try to get back to where we are. So we can also use Control plus space bar. When we do Control plus space bar, we highlight the whole column. In other words, you highlight the entire column. But for our purpose, we need to do a Shift space bar, because we don't need a row, we don't need a column, we want a row. So it will be Shift space bar, and we've selected that entire row. Now, if you are using the mouse, we could just go up here in this name box here, and we just click in that section of the name box, and this we could give it a name as gross profit, gross profit, gross profit, just like that. But what we want to use is not basically to use the mouse. That's why we are not going to name this using the keyboard. So what we want to do, we want to highlight that, Shift spacebar, then we make sure that at least we are not using the mouse, we are using the keyboard. So what we are going to do, let's tap Alt key, and now what we want to go, we want to go up into here, formulas. We go to M for formulas. So it is within the formulas where we are going to have those name manager. So let's now tap M on our keyboard. We have M here, another M for define names. There is N for name manager, but we need to define names. So we go to M for define names. Then we have also a D. We are seeing there is a D. We have choices now. Our choices are this, that we have a D for define names. So we hit the D, and now we can actually see that dialog box coming up, and it is suggesting the name gross profit. And that name gross profit, it is suggesting it has got it from the cell that we are in, because we are in cell B19, which is a gross profit cell. That's why it has picked up that name from that point. So what we are going to do, let's try to clean up this a little bit. We are going to remove this underscore. Underscore is just that dash, you see, just to clean this up a little bit. And we have gross profit as a single word. So it's now fine. We can now go ahead and hit the enter key, and now we can have that place, because now we are seeing this, the cell is still highlighted, or the row 19 is still highlighted, but here you are seeing gross profit in the name manager, meaning the name has been assigned. So the name has been assigned to that same cell that we've highlighted. So as you can see, the name is appearing in that name box. So we've gotten that entire row named gross profit. Now let's do the same thing for, maybe we can now go ahead and pick SG&A here. Let's pick SG&A. Now for SG&A, we are also going to do the same thing. We are going to highlight, we are in that cell for SG&A B21, and now what we are going to do is we are going down to that very cell. We use shift spacebar. We hit shift and spacebar to highlight that cell for SG&A, and then we are now having the entire row selected. So we go to Alt, M for formulas, and then M for define names. Then we go to D to define name. So you are seeing it has brought SGA, but we have also that underscore. So we clean it up a bit and we remove that underscore. Then we hit enter. You are also seeing that SGA has been assigned in that name box as our row 21. So if you never wanted to repeat that same keyboard shortcut, you could also highlight that figure, that row 21, and then you hit F4 key just to repeat the last command. But for now, we needed to do that so that we can be able to have those things in place. So let's see how we can use those names that we've created, and we want to put those names in a formula. So let's try to put those names in a formula down here. Let's go down the last section here. Maybe we can just use it from this point. Let's just assume and we put it there. Or we can just put it somewhere there. Let's just put it in that cell F37. We shall delete it, but here we are just showing how we can actually do that. So what we are going to do is we are going to pretend just maybe that we just pretend for the moment that we only, let's just put it in this cell. Let's pretend that we wanted to pull out the gross profit. So what we are going to do, we put in an equal sign there. Remember, we are putting in the gross profit. So after putting in the equal sign, now what we are going to do, we are going to start typing, because what we need gross profit. We type in gross profit. The moment you see it, you hit the tab key and it has come up. So you hit enter. You will see it has picked. If I highlight that using shift right arrow to highlight, then Control R for fill right, you will see that the whole of these values you are seeing in which are highlighted, they are the same values that are within this point, that are this side of gross profit. This is 82,500, this is 90,750. If you look at these values, you will see that they are the same. And if you hit in that cell, you hit now the F2, you'll find it is picking from the gross profit. But now there is something I also want to note. Some computers, you may find that instead of saying equal sign gross profit, you may find that you need to put that symbol, at symbol, like that. You put equal sign, then you put that at symbol, then you hit the tab key to pick the gross profit. But now the challenge, if I hit enter, it will not work. Reason, this one doesn't recognize it as a formula, because it has remained in black. So which means it's not a formula. But if I just put in gross profit like that and I hit the tab key, you find it has come as a blue item. So you hit enter and you're finding your values coming. But if you find when you use that and it doesn't work, you may find that some of the settings, in the settings you changed some of those things and you need to put that @ symbol. When you put in that @ symbol and it works, don't say that these formulas are different, but the response is as per the settings you have. So sometimes may I find it tricky to add in that @ symbols, so that I can be able to have that in place. So if I just put in = gross profit and it pulls out the information, that's enough for me, because that's basically what we are after, than putting in so many complications. But if you do what I did and it fails, then you have to put in the @ symbol. Because the reason for putting in that @ symbol, that @ symbol is telling the computer to pull in the gross profit. So you'll find that it is pulling in that 82,500, which is as you are seeing here, and you are seeing it is exact. So that's how we use the names in a formula. Maybe we can also add in something. We can also say that we wanted to add in something. Maybe we wanted to come here and get, maybe we get, because you can use, this is our gross profit now. If we wanted to get the EBITDA, the same EBITDA you are seeing here, the same values you are seeing up here in these highlighted cells, I can also get them. I can also compute them from here by putting in $, then I put in gross profit, then I hit the tab key. But now I'm going to subtract SG and A, because I have also SG and A. Enter. Then you hit the enter key. Sorry, I've removed. It is $, gross profit, tab key, minus. Because for us to get EBITDA, that is gross profit minus the SG and A. SG and A. Then we hit the tab key, enter. You are seeing that we are getting these values. No, we are not supposed to subtract, because the other one, they are already negatives. Sorry about that. The SG and A, they are already negative, so we add. Sorry about that. We have to add, because this SG and A, these figures are already in bracket. So if you just subtract, it means it's like you are adding that figure. You are adding this to the other one. So that's why you are seeing here, it has come up. We can do shift right arrow just to highlight across. Then we do a Control R to fill right. That's why you are seeing these values here. Shift right arrow. You are seeing these values, they are the same as these values you are seeing here. So that's what I wanted to show you. But now, as I said, it is not always good to use name cells in our formulas. Reason being, it will be hard for us to audit those formulas. Just imagine if the figures we are pulling out, they are from this cover page. How are you going to audit if you are using, maybe you are using trace dependence or trace precedence? There is no way you are going to do that. So it's better we avoid using the name cells. So we are going to delete these values from here, the whole of them, because we don't need them. That was just for us to see what we have there. So that's what we have from that point, and that's what I wanted us to learn, because those values are going also to help you if at all you have mastered some of the things. We shall find ways of how we can incorporate some of those things in here, as long as you have learned what we need to do. So we finished doing those naming of those different cells as we've as we wanted to do. But as I said, we definitely prefer not to use names in our financial models. But what I wanted to know, I wanted you to understand that it's really important for you to have seen them and understood them a little bit, because from that point you know what to do if at all you encounter such kind of transactions. So let's jump ahead to the next video and look at some other interesting features that we can build onto that target EBITDA section that we created. Because we created the target EBITDA section, we've put in the highlighted EBITDA, and now what we want to focus on is basically to look at the EBITDA limit. That's what we are going to look at. So we see you in the next video as we are looking at when we are setting the EBITDA limit. We see you there. In other words, it is pulling in the gross profit for the column that we are in.